My name is Amy Sargent, and I am here today with my two daughters, two of three. This is Eliza and Susanna are here helping me today. So I teach art in the community at a school and some camps around. And our local library is the Village, and Mr. Stewart had asked me to teach a art class that goes with the summer reading program, Imagine Your Story. And I was so excited about this opportunity to teach there in our little neighborhood. And obviously, those things had to change. And so now we're teaching online. And this is my first go at teaching to a screen. And so I have my assistants here that'll hopefully make it feel a little more like a class, and we're all in this together. So I want to show you some of the supplies that I have here. And we are thinking about this, the summer reading program is Imagine Your Story. And so that just already like lends itself to art and creativity, that just imagine, okay? What is your story? What has it been during quarantine? What has it been your favorite birthday party? Imagine what you want to be when you grow up. Imagine what planet you want to live on, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine, imagine, imagine. So we're going to channel all that creativity and imagination into our art project. All right, so let me show you some of the supplies I have. And if you don't have any of these things, I'm going to try to show you substitutes so that you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. Paper, all right? We're going to be doing a lot of things on paper. And this is actually cardstock, which is a little bit thicker. If you just have regular copy paper, that will work. It just might kind of wrinkle the paper a little bit because the dyes and the inks and the liquids kind of make it a little more buckly. No big deal. This is a little trick that I use a lot. Now this is a cookie tin. Now it's an old cheap one I got from the dollar store, and it's covered with paint and junk, and so I just put tin foil on it. But this is a great surface to do your artwork on so that the paint and glue and stuff oozes out onto the tray and not onto your kitchen table. All right, so you might see right here in front of me. So I've got a couple different options here of things that we're going to use. This is called liquid watercolor. All right, so you probably have seen the watercolor sets that come in the tray, and they're the little circles, and those are compressed and you have to add water to them. Well, this is already liquefied, if that's even a word, of the color. So it's a very high concentration of color. So just a little bit goes a long way with these things. All right, if you do not have these, which probably I wouldn't say the average household carries these, and that's fine. You can use your little colored watercolor set. You'll just have to get it really wet and a paintbrush and kind of drop it on your paper. All right, I also have some acrylic paints. Now, if you have tempera, or that would work too, like finger paint is like another type of paint you might have. That would work. But if you don't have any paint in your house, then go to your kitchen. This is food coloring, all right? This will work as well, okay? So anything that has color. In fact, we even tried, what did we experiment with?
Ketchup, soy sauce, and like all the sauces in it.
We went in the refrigerator, pulled out anything that had some color and tried that. Now, it wasn't as pretty as these, but we imagined and we made it work, right? Okay, so they're gonna slide to the side of the table, and we're gonna start working on this together. Now, first thing you're gonna have is your paper. Everybody has a piece of paper. Now, I often, like this is brand new paper, which is kind of a luxury at our house. I recycle paper a lot, and often there might be artwork that was done on one side, and then I use the back. So don't feel like you have to have brand new fresh paper. So you're gonna fold this in half, okay? So you might have heard the different folds. There's a hamburger or a hot dog. See, it's like a long hot dog. Hamburger. We're going to do a hamburger fold. Okay? So corner to corner. Nice crease there. Okay? Fold it in half. Now, what we have here, actually, Susanna, will you show them that gray one? And Liza, you show them, bring a couple of those. I'm going to show you a couple of things what we're going to do, and then you can kind of get a vision of where we're going here. So these are different examples. Okay, thank you. There's one here. This is done with the liquid watercolor. This one, what's this one done with?
Food coloring.
This is food coloring. So you see the color is just a little bit darker. And what's this one, Suze?
This one is the paint.
That is the acrylic paint, okay? So they all have a little bit different pigment, dye, or intensity, I suppose. But a couple of things I want to show you. Now, this is the art teacher in me wanting to give some more explanation. There is a cool thing when you do this project that see how it mirrors what's on this side is also on this side? Does anyone remember what that's called? Go ahead.
Symmetry.
Symmetry, yes. So symmetry means whatever on one side is the same on the other, okay? So for instance, our face, like if I put this right down the middle, think about your face. If it was sliced in half, it's symmetrical. So you have an eye on this side and you have an eye on this side. You have a nostril on this side, you have a nostril on this side. Your chin is in the middle, your cheeks are on both sides, that you're symmetrical. And in art, we are naturally attracted to things that are symmetrical, okay? And so what we're gonna do here is make some symmetrical artwork, but this is called process art. This is part of just experimenting. You may not know what's gonna come out when we start the process, but that's what's fun about it, okay? So think of it kind of like a science experiment too, that once we do one, you learn why you like it and why you don't, and then you change it the next time. And that's why I have a whole stack of paper here so we can do them over and over again. Okay, so how about, Susanna, which paint are you gonna use?
I'm going to use the...
She's gonna do the food coloring. What do you wanna try?
I'll do the paint because I haven't done it
yet. The paint yet? Okay. And then I am going to do liquid watercolor. Now, this is going to be tricky to show you, but I'm going to stand up and kind of hold this down. Now, these things come out, and you can go ahead, Liza, and start yours with the acrylic paint. Now, we folded it in half, and that will just make it much easier to fold it back over. Now, I don't have a head right now when I stand up, but I want you to focus on this. Okay, so I'm going to just get my paint and put a few dots, and I barely have to squeeze it. Do you see how I have a few dots on there? That's purple, and I'm going to try some green on here. All right, a few dots around, and I'm just doing it on one side, super easy, and I like yellow, I think a lighter color. Now, something else that's we can learn while we're doing this is secondary and primary colors. So, what is a primary color, Eliza? Name one.
Red.
Red. Okay. So if she had just put red, now you have a lot of paint. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'll show you. This is probably more. That glob might be a little bit big, but it's nice because it's towards the seam. So when she folds it in half, it'll stay in the paper. And do you see how it's already dripping down? That's kind of giving a cool technique. We'll see what happens. But you don't need a lot of paint, like the size of a pea, like a little drop. So I was saying primary and secondary colors. So if you just use the primary colors, which are red and yellow and blue, which I don't even have blue paint. Let's pretend we use this. You can make secondary colors. So if I put yellow paint and blue paint, what would I get?
Yellow paint and blue paint makes green paint.
Makes green paint. If I put yellow paint and red paint, what color would I get?
Orange paint.
Orange paint. That's right. And if I put red paint and blue paint,
you get purple.
Purple. Okay? So that's another thing that's really fun with this is that as you put different colors on there and you see them mixed together, you make new colors. Okay. So I have here, I put my dots of my liquid watercolor of yellow, purple, and green, and it's in the fold. And then here's what I do. I fold it in half. I put it on my tray. I'm going to show you this here. And just rub it. Not too hard. You don't want anything to squish out. The acrylic paint's more likely to squish out. Just rub it a little bit back and forth so the paint spreads on both sides. And the fun part is opening it up and seeing what you make. All right, so we're gonna imagine our story and open it up. Ooh, look at this one. Okay, Susanna, you can see she didn't put as much paint in the center, but she put the dots around, so it made it very neat and tidy. let's see, Eliza's, she had some paint. Well, look at that. It's a little bit thick right here, so it will take a little bit longer to dry. But I like her dots. I do like it though. I think it's neat if you put colors close together so you can mix and make new color arrangements.
It's kind of like a teal on here.
Is that a teal? Okay, so you see how they made new colors when they blended together. Now, this is the part where we have some already done for you. All right, so you can do this over and over and over again, and they're going to come out different every time, depending on what colors you use and what type of material you use. And it has to be some kind of liquid dyed color, whether it's food coloring or paint or watercolor. Now, this is where you have to like put on your art cap, be super creative, imagine your story, as they're saying at the library, and look at this and say, what does this look like? What do you see here? So I might look at it this way. Now, okay, when I hold it up into the screen, I kind of feel like this looks like two birds. Like that's its beak right there, and they're looking at each other, and those are their little beaks. Do you see that kind of, Eliza? Kind of. And maybe this is like a bush. But look, what if I turned it around like this? Now, do you see something else? What do you see?
They're two little hedgehogs sitting on like a pointy bush.
Hedgehogs sitting on a pointy bush. Interesting. Now, I don't see that, but that's really cool. Do you see it?
Yes. Those are like its noses, and then that's like its body, and then that's like the bush that kind of points out.
That's really cool. Okay, I'm going to show you some that we've done in the past. Now, my oldest daughter, Lena, did this several years ago when she was much younger, but I think it's really cute. So she put the ink on there and folded it in half and opened it up. And then you see how she outlined it with these markers. That's a Sharpie or just a black marker so that the blob, the blue ink, looks like some funny looking creature. Some lady, I guess, with pink fingernails, and she's got even an accessory, a little necklace on. Okay, so this is the next step. So after you do your symmetrical ink blotting, you want to give it a few minutes to dry, and then you come to this stage. So here's one that I've got going here. I did a little bit earlier. So this one I did, and to me it looked like these little dragons. So this is where you find your Sharpie or any kind of black marker or colored marker, and you begin looking at your picture and deciding, what do I want this to be? What story do I want this to tell? And when you outline it is when it starts to kind of pop off. So I'm going to continue drawing around this one. And Eliza and Suze are using some of their symmetrical drawings for, so I'm coloring. Let's see, I'll kind of try to do this in front of you. So like his eyeball right here, I made him look like a rhinoceros with a horn. Maybe he can have hair or antennas coming out like that. I don't know, I have to come a little bit closer to you to see this. Whoops. All right. Do you see how I made him so it looks like this is a winged, like some kind of dragon type thing? I'm going to give him a little mouth. Here we go. Whoop, a little mouth. There's his mouth right here. Maybe he has a tooth coming down. And then, let's see. I'm sorry. I know it's hard for you to see this. I'm going to outline their hands. Ooh. And when you begin to outline it, it makes the picture come alive. So maybe these are like his chubby fingers right here. Okay. You see that? All right, let's see what Susanna and Eliza, they are going to begin outlining theirs. Let me see if I can move this camera to show. Ooh. Woo. Sorry about that. See how she is outlining her. What do you think you're going to make it look like, Suze?
A butterfly.
A butterfly. Okay. Those are the wings. And what are you going to have all those other shapes be?
They'll probably be like other animals.
Other animals? Okay. All right. Liza, you're not doing the drawing part.
I mean, it still has to dry.
Oh, yours is drawing. Okay.
That's
Okay. See if we can hold that. Can you hold that? Is that good? Okay. Camera. All right, here I am back. Okay, so then the next step. So there's a couple different directions you can go with this. So after you fold your paper, you do your ink, you make a symmetrical, meaning it's the same, it's kind of the same colors but reversed. It's like flipped from one side to the other. You've experimented with making new colors that blend together. You've outlined and imagine what these could be. These could be like speech bubbles, but these little guys look like they're high-fiving each other. Now the next thing you can do with these is if you have cut them out, okay? So clearly these look like butterfly wings. That seems like the pretty typical, shape of the pattern, I guess, that this project makes. Liza, will you hand me one of those other completed, let's see, no, not that one. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so this is one I did earlier. It's very similar. They kind of have a similar look. But now once it's dry, you'll fold it back in half, okay? And the easiest way to dry wings is when you have the folded half. Remember, symmetrical will be the same on both sides. So if you want to use a marker or a pencil and kind of draw the letter B. I'll hold this up so you can see it. So you can kind of make a big loop and a small loop, okay? See that? Now the good thing about this is when I cut them folded, and grab my scissors, then it will look the same on both sides. All right, so I'm gonna cut right here. And we are going to use this process art to create something new. We're gonna imagine what else it can be. So we have those, like, we think they look like butterfly wings, but we have an idea, don't we, Susanna?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Woo! See, you think that's a butterfly. But now what I want you to do is go find some magazines, some old magazines that it's okay with your parents if you cut up. And we are going to create new creatures, I guess, or characters that you can tell a story with. So I have a few here. Let's see. Here's some of my magazines. I'm gonna move my Sharpies back down here. I've got this bucket that has glue sticks and tape and scissors. Now, I have Charleston Magazine. I cut out this girl, okay? Now look what happens if all of a sudden we cut out the magazine and I glue her on there. What does she look like?
A fairy.
A fairy, okay? So imagine you had a couple of these and you could tell a little story. Imagine the story you would tell with all your people all of a sudden having fairy wings. But some of you people might think, I don't want a little fancy fairy floating around. But let's see what happens when we put, I found this other picture. All right, you see this guy? Oh, you just took my scissors. Doesn't it kind of look like he's flying? All right, so let's cut him out. So find a picture in a magazine, anything you like, cut it out. And I'm gonna do that right now. Oh, it's good. Now, Liza, now that you did another one, you can draw, outline it with the pens. Okay, so this was a picture of a guy playing soccer, and it was really cool because he's kind of mid-air, so it already looks like he's flying a little bit.
Here are my wings.
Oh, that's nice. You made some wings. Okay, what are you gonna imagine them with? All right, we're cutting it out. Now, you know, I'm sure all of you are savvy enough that anytime we're doing something, you can just press pause and go get what you need to get and come back. I also suggest that if you are using materials that stain, acrylic paint is harder to come out. Tempera is a much easier washable paint. It doesn't matter on this project. Sometimes certain paints work better for different projects, but this one Doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, so here's this guy. Can you see this? So it looks like he's playing soccer, right? Well, he is playing soccer, but it looks like he was flying. But imagine the story if we put wings on him, these giant wings, while he's playing soccer, and you glue that on. Now, maybe like this is a soccer player for Penn State, and the colors are blue and white. Maybe you would want to make the wing colors coordinate with the person that you're gluing in the middle, okay? Here's another example that we did. We cut out this picture. Look at that, firefighter, okay? Very intense man. We made one earlier today with just yellow and red paint. Okay, you see how we put the paint in there, fold it, open it up. It's had plenty of time to dry. Doesn't this kind of look like fire? So let's cut this out. Let's cut this out and imagine the story that we make if we put this on top of the firefighter. All right, cutting. All right. So you could do it either way. It could be, this could be like his wings. He can fly through to save. Or it looks like a background. To me, it kind of looks like there's fire behind him and creates the story. We could even turn it this way too, I guess, if you wanted it behind him that way. Okay? So this is where you're using the magazine, whatever photos that you find, and you're creating your own story, or you're making it better. You're enhancing it with your own original artwork. You glue this on there, and then you can write a story about it, or you can present it. Another thing that would be really cool is if you cut out a picture of yourself, if you had a photograph and you turned yourself into fairy and had some wings or flying some way. But I think right now my favorite is this lady. I'm going to put some glue. I'm just using a glue stick. Any kind of glue, even if you just have tape, is fine. All right, just a little bit of glue. Stick it on there. Now I guess fairy wings. Here we go. Stick it on there. And there is our fairy. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this process art and that you can think outside the box and be creative with all the symmetrical. Oh, there's one. She's cool. She's a basketball player. She can fly. Oh,
like hockey.
Oh, maybe field hockey. More of my sports here. And so that you enjoyed this and that you know that there's no end to this, that you can continue to make new ones, and every time, every single one will be different based on the colors that you use and the material that you put inside the paper, and then going that next step and creating them to be a background for some character that you choose. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you, Eliza. Thank you, Susanna. And happy reading. Have a good summer. Bye.